Thank you very much. It's David Iweta, the president of the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce, National Vice President, very big person. We're here at the Afro Champions BOMA, and we're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. We're here to hear his views and the thinking behind some of his ideas and what it entails for the future of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So, what is the fourth industrial revolution intend for Africa?
Well, I think practically the fourth industrial revolution is a thing that has come to stay. Africa do not control nor dictate the operations of the fourth industrial revolution, but we are under every circumstance to queue behind it and do what is possible within the ambit of African sub-region to see how best we can make the good use of the fourth industrial revolution. Yes, those that have gone into the very advanced level of taking good advantage of the opportunity are there, but we as Africans have to strategize and look at the best way and policies that is suitable for us to drive and make it positive, make it meaningful for the general benefit of Africans. And by so doing, why the fourth industrial revolution is centered around green revolution, robotics, and all other techniques that IT, which Africa is not positively positioned to drive in the same pace as those in the third world, the advanced countries. And by so doing, we have to tactically, logically, and strategically see how we could navigate, create our own corridor, and create some level of integration within the African sub-region to see where we can, show some level of syndication where a country have an advantage, the others do not have, by that of osmosis, where that level of weaker substance or solution move to that of higher concentration. And going further, we are now saying, okay, what can we do? Because with the fourth industrial revolution, you will be adapting technology, robotics to produce in large scale, and by that reducing cost of production. And if we imbibe that wholesale, Africans would be disadvantaged because we have pool of untrained manpower. We have high level of unemployment. And so what do? Let us create commercial agricultural revolution in our own level, and that is done by robotics, by a lot of big industrial machineries, creating high value, but they now go into full agricultural value chain, which will give that essence of creating mass employment. Because by mass employment, you are now, for example, choosing a product line like garment and apparel. Garment and apparel is what is considered prior to when we were using man labor to producing agricultural produce, crops, and other tree, commodity, is the first largest employer of labor. Now, garment is one area where we can take advantage of the fourth industrial revolution, doing agriculture in mass production with machinery of the modern world, and then go into producing our own clothes by processing the entire produce from the farm into final use, like the clothes you're wearing, shoes that you're wearing, the food that you are eating, processed food up to the value chain. by that we are now taking advantage, which we ought to have lost by now building on the huge human resources that we have as a pool to leapfrog our own advantage into the fourth industrial revolution. Because by all of that, you have converted an unskilled labor within 3 months to semi-skilled labor, within 6 months to 1 year skilled labor. And by that, we've grown all of that using area like garments and apparel, and then we grow our own cotton, grow our own textile, and then grow the garment and apparel, and develop the garment and apparel. And then clothing ourselves. And when you do that in an economic zone, you do not have to pay duty on even the plants and machinery that you import from advanced countries into Africa. In that same place, you develop your own power. If you, for example, you're processing about 25,000 pigs per day, the waste from the pig is enough to power by creating green energy in terms of power to solving the power need for the entire value chain of textile, of the garment factory, of the housing, in the water supply, and all of the technical support facilities that is required to create a virile industrial setting. Then if you even go using mass commercial agriculture in terms of maize, soya, you are also creating feedstock using fourth industrial technology to produce, dairy products, and that you will now process to its final stage, producing things like cheese, infant formula, evaporated milk, powdered milk. All of this will employ, our workers in large volume. And because too, you also have the waste of the cow, by the digestive system of power provision, you supply your own power. The same apply to the piggery, and then you produce pork. And I can tell you, China is the largest, consumer of pork meat in the world. And if they could supply us machinery, we can supply them processed pork. And that's a huge opportunity for Africa. And we, for example, taking a program of this nature under the African Free, Trade Area, say, hey, we have 55 countries. We are, with this program, going to do maize, going to do dairy, going to do piggery, going to do garments and textile. We are set to employ 5 million per country. And that's a target. And I think I have all it takes from Taiwan, from Japan, to get it all the machineries from A to Z. Africa can produce our own cotton. And I know a lot of West African countries, even countries like Uganda, they produce cotton. We can meet all of this and drive within this, and this can happen within 1 year. We have all of this running, and over 5-10 years, we can give employment of 5 million, unskilled, semi-skilled in every 55 country of Africa that are members of the AFCTA, and all of these would feed ourselves, we clothe ourselves with that volume of those selected specific projects, project specifics, meet our own power need. And if we cannot, for any reason, because of lack of organized market, we have the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, which is created to power Africa by the American Congress. And so all of these are things that I think we can use as a starting point to driving the program and agenda of the African, free trade area that would give a kind of stimulus to the entire process, where every country, every government will be interested, because we have something to offer in making the process more meaningful, concrete, because of a project that have job-oriented creation, concepts that can drive the whole process as the first leg in moving the whole process forward.
Talk about the demographic dividend that we have in the continent. In some cases, over 75% of the youth of our populations are poor and age of 35. Right now, as it stands, there's a lot of joblessness, and there are lots of opportunities right now. As the Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce, you surely sit in an advantage position and you can see areas that you can go in and take advantage of. What do you have to say about this, and how can we take advantage of the whole industrial revolution that is currently about to take place?
Yes, like I said, in trying to create a problem, a solution for a problem that's already staring at us in the face, is to design a concept and program which have to do with training and employment. And training is because, like you would agree with me, 75% of Africa that fall within the age bracket that you mentioned is a huge potential. But right now, they are idle. So they are not productive. But they must feed. And therefore, there is the danger of how do they get the feeding. And if a man is not employed, his thinking ability is always diminishing. And if the parents of the young ones are not engaged, they cannot train their children. And when you cannot train the children, you cannot provide their needs, they become violent even to the parents. Therefore, absorb the parents, get the children into school, and you have a stable economy, a growing economy. Because that is when they can contribute to the GDP of Africa. And the youth group, the youthful group of our economy, are the people that actually need to be concentrated upon in Africa. But our African government, by their policies, have abandoned the potential that are in the youth, using them for only political thuggery. And when they use them for political achievements, they abandon them and they now become bandits and terrorists and people that are affecting and creating nuisance on the streets. And I can tell you, all of that is a function of what our political leaders have created, because the political leaders are involved in green-collar crime, which is more injurious to the society than the street crime that is created by unemployed youth. So we need to create a kind of synergy by seeing how we can remove the unemployed youth into a productive system. And I think agriculture, garment, IT training, and full-scale education, it's one key road that we need to concentrate on this sector of our population in Africa to make a meaningful Africa that will lead to the kind of expected growth, commerce that will require to grow Africa.
Finally, we see the second scramble for Africa. China has come to the they come in with aid, disguised as partnership. What do you think of this relationship that we have with China? Do you see it as a win-win? Do you see it as something that is lasting?
Well, I think the kind of incursion into Africa suddenly by the Chinese and other Asian countries are things that we should be mindful and be watchful about. And while we accept them with one hand, we should be logic in the other hand by trying within our own capacity to build that project, that program, that financing, that technology that China have that are coming to invade Africa. And by doing that, we must create our own financial infrastructure, our own financial architecture that can create a balance of building our own capacity so that we can be building our own industrial base, so as we do not depend on external support in everything, particularly in the area of finance, because it is finance that we're talking about here. And if we allow Asians to take the industrial base, whatever profit that they make, they must repatriate. And that is also going to have a weight on our foreign exchange positions. Therefore, if we concentrate on our local entrepreneurs, to giving them the needed support to stand on their own, to compete with the Chinese incursion that are bringing money into our tourism section, into our agriculture section, into our real estate section, into our education sector, into our garment section. We are going to have, even agriculture, we are already surrendering the key potential of Africa. And we must look beyond that section of allowing, free funds without thinking outside the box to creating within the hidden, latent social, worth of Africa. There are minerals that are, right on the ground that is unexplored, surveyed, to know the net worth and monetize that in the international market to create the credit worth, the net worth of every African country, and put that on the front to leverage on funding, to unlocking funding that are valuable for industrial development. I think these are very key in trying to drive the new African uprising.
Finally, Nigeria is an African giant, known all around the world. You, as the Vice President of the National Chamber of Commerce, what initiatives are you doing as a body to enable Nigeria to take its rightful place? Because Nigeria is a leader. If it speaks, if it pops, ECOWAS catches the code.
Yeah, I think that is quite a very thought-provoking question. Nigeria is large. Its population is well over 10 to 20% of African population, and that's quite a large capacity. And we are having a kind of a new rebirth in thinking Nigeria out of the kind of cauldron that we've been occupying over time. Yes. And we, by all of that, a lot of strategic positioning by the new president of Nigeria, who has graciously set up economic council of 8 renowned, acceptable, tested economists to actually think Nigeria out of its economic woes, so as to creating the needed positive drive in making the Nigeria to take its position as the giant of Africa. Right now, Nigeria needs to run faster than it ought to be, because every other African country are looking onto the shoulders of Nigeria to be able to get it right. And once Nigeria gets it right, every other country will get it right. And we are, at the Chamber of Commerce, doing the best possible, because as a Chamber of Commerce, we, our lobbyists, can only lobby government policy to ensure that it favors the entrepreneurial section. And that is not really possible, because the politicians want to have it all. They want to be in political arena. They want to also be in the private sector. And not just only Nigeria, the African political leader says that a striving entrepreneur is a threat to their political positions. Because if they are economically powered, they can unseat them by the volume of money and size. So as they now become very wary, except people that are in their own clique, who are deliberately financed or supported by government in power to ensure their constant remaining in power by empowering a few large entrepreneurs. And those people are in the strong membership of that political party. And that is not good for Africa. Except there is a level playing field, which is so that every entrepreneur, businessmen and women, are on the same plane, having industrial policies that are right, that everybody can plug into, both local and foreign investors. So you can have a level playing field. There will be room for innovation. There will be room for competition. There's a room for growth. There's room of shared knowledge and, industrial facilities like power and all of that. But when you try to concentrate in the growth of one or two individuals in a country where you have so much, population burst in such a rapid growing rate compared to the rate of agriculture growth or food supply, then you're having a problem. But I think all of this is having a positive direction right now in Nigeria by the selection of a new Economic Advisory Council by the current government of Nigeria.
Prince David Itewa, an Afro champion and an African giant. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate this opportunity.